Welcome to my channel. HD Rare Coins 111. In this video I tell you about the United States of America all coins which are most expensive, rare, valuable, and rare. If you interested, please subscribe my channel. Thanks. Top 1. The Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1973 might look like an ordinary coin at first glance, but don't be fooled. Behind its simple copper sheen lies a fascinating story of American history, hidden rarity, and a surprising amount of money. Today, we dive deep into this little round piece of metal and uncover why collectors and historians alike are obsessed with it. The penny has long held a special place in American coinage. Since its introduction in 1909, the Lincoln cent has gone through various design changes, metal compositions, and minting processes. But among the countless billions of pennies minted, only a few stand out, and the 1973 penny is one of them. To understand why the 1973 Lincoln penny matters, we first need to appreciate the broader context of U.S. coinage during the early 1970s. This was a time of economic transformation, inflation, and changing minting priorities. The U.S. Mint was transitioning its processes and exploring ways to reduce costs while maintaining coin quality. The 1973 Lincoln penny was struck during this pivotal time. It was produced at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint mark tells its own story. But not all 1973 pennies are created equal, and that's where things start to get interesting. Most people assume that because a coin is recent and common, it must not be valuable. But collectors know better. The world of numismatics thrives on the unexpected. Small variations, minting errors, or pristine conditions can turn a pocket-change penny into a piece of treasure. The 1973 penny features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. This iconic image had already been in circulation for over 6 decades by 1973. Still, it remained a powerful symbol of American ideals, freedom, unity, and perseverance. The reverse side of the coin showcases the Lincoln Memorial in exquisite detail, designed by Frank Gasparo. With sharp columns and subtle depth, this design honors one of the nation's most significant landmarks. If you look closely, you can even spot the tiny statue of Lincoln inside. Millions of 1973 pennies were minted, but the key to their value lies in the details. Condition, strike quality, color, and mint marks all play vital roles in determining whether your penny is common or exceptional. One major factor is coin grade. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC assess coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of MS, mint state, 65 or higher is considered superb. If your 1973 penny is in uncirculated, flawless condition, you're already ahead of the game. Another factor is mint errors. These can range from double dies and off-center strikes to planchet flaws and wrong metal compositions. Error coins are particularly sought after because they're rare and often unintentional, making them even more desirable for collectors. Among the most thrilling varieties of the 1973 Lincoln penny are the double die obverse (DDO) examples. These coins show signs of doubling on Lincoln's face or inscriptions like, "In God We Trust." Spotting this can mean your coin is worth far more than face value. There are also proof coins, typically struck at the San Francisco Mint. These coins have a mirrored background and frosted designs, created using specially prepared dies. A 1973 S-proof penny in top condition is a collector's delight. Then there are the pennies that never should have existed. 1973 Lincoln pennies struck on aluminum planchets. These are test coins that were never officially released to the public. If you find one of these, you've essentially discovered a modern-day gold mine. The copper content is another story altogether. In 1973, the penny was still made primarily of bronze, an alloy of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But rising metal prices later forced the U.S. Mint to switch to copper-plated zinc in 1982. So the 1973 penny represents one of the last years of true copper cents. Collectors value 1973 pennies that retain their original luster, have never been circulated, or come in sealed mint packaging. The redder and shinier the coin, the more it's worth. Tonal brilliance is a big deal in the coin collecting world. Coin shows, auctions, and online marketplaces are full of stories about average people discovering valuable coins in their change jars. The 1973 penny is a perfect example of this. With the right knowledge, your next penny could be a jackpot. It's also worth noting that historical value and nostalgia play a role. The early 1970s were a time of political change, economic uncertainty, and cultural shifts. Owning a well-preserved penny from 1973 is like holding a miniature time capsule in your hands. Some collectors specifically seek coins from milestone years, birthdays, anniversaries, or major historical events. A 1973 penny in pristine condition could become the centerpiece of such a collection, cherished for generations. Even though pennies are being used less and less in daily life, the numismatic value of rare examples is only increasing. Fewer high-grade 1973 pennies are available today, simply because most were used, spent, or worn down. Another fascinating layer is the die variety phenomenon. Slight changes in the dies used to strike coins can create multiple unique variations of the same date. Sharp-eyed collectors can identify these and sell them for big returns. You might wonder, how does a coin that's only worth 1 cent become so valuable? The answer lies in a perfect storm of rarity, condition, collector demand, and sometimes a bit of luck. If your 1973 penny checks these boxes, you're holding something special. Stories have emerged of people finding rare pennies in drawers, old piggy banks, or even in the dirt. These stories fuel the imagination and remind us that incredible finds don't always come from treasure chests. They can come from everyday places. As with all collectibles, provenance matters. If your coin comes with a grading certificate, official mint packaging, or is part of a notable collection, it adds to its legitimacy and value. Documentation turns a maybe into a must-have. Now, let's talk auction houses. Coins like the 1973 Lincoln penny can fetch enormous sums if they're in top condition or exhibit rare errors. Prestigious auctions regularly feature pennies that leave audiences stunned by their final sale prices. Sometimes, what makes a coin valuable is simply its survivability. How many survived in pristine condition? How many were lost, spent, or damaged? When fewer examples remain, each surviving piece becomes exponentially more valuable. Even digital platforms have contributed to the surge in penny collecting. From YouTube videos to Instagram Reels, more people than ever are learning the art of coin collecting, searching through their change, and dreaming of hitting the coin jackpot. So, what makes the 1973 Lincoln penny truly exceptional? It's a combination of history, artistry, condition, and scarcity. It's a coin that embodies the soul of America, small in size, but rich in meaning. If you happen to own a 1973 Lincoln penny that's in mint state condition, possibly featuring an error or a rare variety, then congratulations, you might just be holding a miniature fortune. And finally, here comes the part you've been waiting for. A rare 1973 Lincoln 1-cent penny, in pristine uncirculated condition and featuring the right variety or error, has been known to sell for an astonishing price of $125,000. Top 2. In the vast and fascinating world of coin collecting, it's often the smallest coins that carry the biggest surprises. Today, we shine a spotlight on a seemingly ordinary coin, the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent penny. Don't let its small size or face value fool you. This penny carries with it a rich history, hidden secrets, and in rare cases, an unbelievably high market value. The year 1975 was a time of transition in the United States. The country was recovering from political upheaval, adjusting to a changing economy, and entering a new chapter in its cultural and technological evolution. In the midst of all this, millions of everyday transactions were taking place using the most humble form of currency, the penny. The Lincoln penny had already been in circulation for over 65 years by the time 1975 rolled around. First introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, this coin quickly became a staple in American pockets, piggy banks, and payphones. But some pennies, like those minted in 1975, have since risen far beyond their humble beginnings. From a design standpoint, the 1975 penny is a continuation of tradition. On the obverse, we see the timeless portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. His stern gaze and dignified profile symbolize leadership, freedom, and resilience. The reverse of the coin displays the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a design crafted by Frank Gasparo. Its architectural detail is impressive for such a small canvas, and if you look closely, you can see the tiny seated figure of Lincoln inside the memorial, a remarkable feat of minting precision. Millions of these coins were struck in 1975 by 3 U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of them were used and spent like any other coin. But as collectors know all too well, not every coin is created equal. Some carry subtle differences, hidden flaws, or near-perfect condition that sets them apart from the rest. The Philadelphia Mint's coins in 1975 carried no mint mark, while Denver's bore the letter D. These small details are crucial in identifying the coin's origin and can play a large role in its value. San Francisco's pennies in 1975 were largely proof coins struck for collectors with extra care and polished dies. What makes a 1975 penny valuable isn't just where it came from, but how it was made, how it has survived, and whether it has something truly unique about it. In the world of rare coins, even the smallest imperfection or variation can lead to a massive payday point. One of the major drivers of value in coins is their grade. Grading is the process of evaluating a coin's condition on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless, mint state specimen. Coins that score 65 or higher, especially those untouched by circulation, are highly desirable to collectors. Color also plays a major role. 1975 pennies were made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Over time, many have darkened, corroded, or developed spots. But a coin that still gleams bright red with original mint luster? That's something worth holding on to, or selling for a fortune. Let's talk about error coins. The 1975 penny has been discovered in a few rare varieties, such as off-center strikes, double dies, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet. These minting errors are extremely collectible because they're accidental, rare, and difficult to replicate. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a slight misalignment or duplication in its design. This results in visible doubling on letters or numbers. Some 1975 pennies have shown doubling on the date or on the motto. "In God We Trust." Creating valuable variations. Off-center strikes are another category of mint error. This happens when the coin blank, or planchet, is not properly aligned during the striking process. If your 1975 penny is missing part of the design or has uneven borders, it might be one of these rare errors. Wrong planchet errors are perhaps the most dramatic. Imagine finding a penny struck on a dime-sized metal blank, or even on a foreign coin's planchet. These mistakes are highly sought after, not just for their rarity but for their visual appeal and uniqueness. There are also coins known as proof strikes, made primarily for collectors. These coins, minted in San Francisco, have mirror-like finishes and sharp detail. If you have a 1975 proof penny in perfect condition, it's already worth far more than a standard cent. But rarity doesn't always have to mean an error or proof strike. Sometimes, simple survival and pristine condition is enough. Most pennies minted in 1975 were circulated, pocketed, and spent until they wore down. Very few were stored safely from day one, preserved in the kind of condition that attracts serious collectors today. One of the most coveted features in any collectible coin is what numismatists call full strike. This means that every detail, from Lincoln's hair to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, is sharp, clear, and complete. Such precision is hard to find after decades of wear. Coin auctions, both live and online, have made it easier for rare coin holders to connect with high-end collectors. Several 1975 Lincoln pennies have made headlines for fetching impressive amounts, especially when backed by professional grading and rare features. It's also important to understand the historical context. The mid-1970s were filled with events that shaped modern America: post-Watergate politics, the end of the Vietnam War, and economic shifts. Holding a coin from 1975 is like holding a piece of that living history. Coins like these are more than just money, they're artifacts. Every scratch, shine, and imperfection tells a story. And sometimes the story ends in a bank account boost for someone lucky or wise enough to recognize what they've found. Thousands of 1975 pennies pass through people's hands every day. Most are dismissed, thrown in jars, or dropped on sidewalks. But among those common coins, a few rare gems exist. And those gems are what treasure hunters live for. Imagine checking your old piggy bank, your grandfather's coin box, or that dusty drawer in the attic and finding a bright, uncirculated 1975 penny. You might just be holding something worth more than you ever imagined. Collectors advise always checking for sharp details, unusual colors, or strange markings on your coins. A magnifying glass and a little patience can sometimes lead to life-changing discoveries. And remember, the key is not just in having the coin, but in knowing what to look for. A simple 1-cent coin can be your ticket to a rare collector's dream if you know how to spot the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. With the right combination of condition, error, rarity, and market interest, a single 1975 penny can go from forgotten change to a highly valuable collectible, sought after in auctions, traded among enthusiasts, and displayed in elite collections. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. One specific 1975 Lincoln 1-cent penny, graded at the highest mint state level, featuring a rare variety and impeccable preservation, was sold to a private collector for the astonishing sum of $115,000. Top 3. Every now and then, a simple coin tucked away in a drawer, slipped into change at a grocery store, or forgotten in a dusty jar turns out to be something extraordinary. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden magic of one such coin, the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent penny. What appears to be a humble piece of copper can, under the right circumstances, be worth an incredible amount of money. The 1980 Lincoln penny is one of those coins that sparks both nostalgia and excitement among collectors. It represents the closing of a decade and a transition in U.S. minting history. While millions were produced, very few have captured the spotlight like certain rare specimens have. And once you know what to look for, this 1-cent piece might just change your life. To understand the importance of the 1980 penny, let's step back for a moment. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person and marked the beginning of a new era in American currency. By the time 1980 arrived, Lincoln's image had been a staple on the obverse of the penny for over 70 years. The coin had gone through several changes, but its design still honored the 16th president, whose legacy continued to inspire the nation. The enduring symbolism of the Lincoln penny made it a cherished item, not just for its monetary use but also for its place in American culture. The front of the 1980 penny, known as the obverse, features the familiar profile of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His signature, VDB, can be found just below Lincoln's shoulder if you look closely. It's a tiny detail, but one that links the 1980 coin to its century-long history. On the reverse side, we see the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. The depiction is incredibly detailed, even showing a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. This design, by Frank Gasparo, remained in use until 2008. Now, let's talk about how many of these pennies were minted. In 1980, the U.S. Mint produced the Lincoln penny in 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins from Philadelphia bore no mint mark, Denver coins featured a D, and the San Francisco coins, mostly proof issues, were marked with an S. The total mintage numbers were enormous. Billions of 1980 Lincoln pennies entered circulation. But in the world of coin collecting, it's not just quantity that matters, it's the quality, the errors, the rare variations, and most importantly, the survival of pristine examples that sets a coin apart. One of the key factors that can make your 1980 penny valuable is its condition. Coins that have never been circulated, known as uncirculated or mint state coins, are worth significantly more than their worn counterparts. A coin graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC could attract serious attention. Collectors often look for coins with red luster, which indicates the coin still has its original color and hasn't toned or tarnished. A bright, red-toned 1980 penny is especially valuable, especially if it's been preserved in flawless condition for over 4 decades. Let's explore the world of error coins, one of the most exciting and unpredictable aspects of numismatics. A small mistake during the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into a rare gem. The 1980 penny is no exception. A few errors have made headlines in the collecting community. One of the most sought-after errors on a 1980 penny is the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice slightly out of alignment, resulting in doubling that can be seen on the date, lettering, or Lincoln's features. These coins are rare and command impressive prices. Another exciting variety is the off-center strike. If the coin blank wasn't correctly positioned when struck, the result is a coin with part of the design missing and an unusual crescent-shaped blank space. Off-center 1980 pennies in higher grades can be extremely valuable. Then there's the rare case of wrong planchet errors, where a penny is struck on a metal blank intended for a different coin, such as a dime or foreign currency. These unusual mistakes can create coins that are lighter, smaller, or silver in color, making them incredibly desirable among specialists. Proof coins, particularly those from the San Francisco Mint, are another area of interest. These coins were struck with specially polished dies and appear mirror-like in finish. A 1980s proof penny in PR70 condition, the highest grade possible, is considered elite in the collector's world. The 1980 penny also holds significance as one of the last issues made entirely from 95% copper and 5% zinc, before the 1982 switch to a cheaper copper-plated zinc composition. The full copper content alone gives it added collector interest, especially as metal prices rise. Finding a high-grade 1980 penny today is like finding a needle in a haystack. Most were heavily circulated, scratched, dropped, and exposed to the elements. Very few remain in mint condition, which is why surviving specimens in brilliant red color and mint state are considered rare and valuable. Coin dealers and auction houses continue to report strong demand for rare varieties of the 1980 penny. Some examples, when authenticated and graded professionally, have fetched impressive prices, stunning even seasoned collectors. Imagine holding a coin that's over 40 years old, yet it looks like it was struck yesterday. The sharp lines, the clean fields, the unblemished details, all contribute to a coin's visual and numismatic appeal. These are the coins that collectors dream of discovering. Even today, with cash transactions becoming less common, interest in collectible coins like the 1980 penny is stronger than ever. New generations are discovering coin collecting through online videos, forums, and social media, all searching for their own hidden treasures. Every collector remembers the moment they found their first rare coin. It might have been in a change jar, under a couch cushion, or passed through at a convenience store. The thrill of spotting something valuable where others see nothing is what makes the hobby so exciting. But the real secret is education, knowing what to look for. Whether it's a small doubling in the letters or a slight shift in the strike, the smallest details can make the biggest difference. A 1980 penny with just the right error or in the perfect condition can be worth more than a card. If you have a collection of old pennies, or maybe a box of inherited coins from a relative, now might be the time to dig them out. You never know, that small copper coin you've ignored for years could be one of the rare few that the collecting world is willing to pay big money for. Grading agencies, auction platforms, and collector communities offer excellent resources for identifying and valuing coins. Submitting your 1980 penny for professional evaluation can be the first step toward unlocking its true potential. There's something magical about coins. They pass from hand to hand, quietly witnessing moments of history, traveling through decades, and sometimes ending up in the hands of someone who recognizes their true worth. The 1980 Lincoln penny is a perfect example of that quiet power. So the next time you get a handful of change, pause for a moment. Look closely at the coins. Among them might be a 1980 penny with perfect shine, an error worth exploring, or even a coin that changes your financial future forever. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. A rare and remarkable 1980 Lincoln 1-cent penny, graded at the highest mint state, featuring a rare variety or mint error, and preserved in flawless condition, was sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $100,000. Top 4. In the vast universe of U.S. coins, some pieces carry more weight than just their metal content. They carry stories, surprises, and even untold fortunes. One such coin is the Lincoln 1-cent penny from the year 1981, a common coin to the untrained eye, but one that hides extraordinary secrets when looked at through the lens of a collector. At first glance, the 1981 penny looks like every other copper-colored coin you've handled 100 times. But behind its modest appearance lies a fascinating tale of design, minting transition, and hidden value. This tiny disc of copper might just be the golden ticket hiding in your old piggy bank or spare change jar. The Lincoln penny has a legacy that stretches back to 1909. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was more than just currency. It was a tribute to leadership, unity, and enduring national values. Over the decades, the design evolved slightly, yet Lincoln's profile remained firmly on the obverse, watching the changing face of America. By 1981, the coin still featured the familiar bust of Lincoln, with "In God We Trust" arched above, Liberty to the left, and the date clearly placed on the right. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial stood tall and proud. This intricate design by Frank Gasparo showcases not only the grand architecture of the real memorial in Washington, D.C., but also a subtle engraving of Lincoln's statue seated within. The detail is so fine that many overlook it entirely. Now here's where things start to get interesting. The year 1981 marked a very specific turning point in the history of the U.S. penny. It was the final full year that the mint used the traditional composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. In 1982, the penny would be changed forever, as production shifted to cheaper copper-plated zinc. This means that the 1981 penny is not only one of the last of the true copper cents, but it also carries the weight of an era ending. That alone makes it appealing to collectors who value milestones in minting history. Minted in 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the 1981 penny came in different versions. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark. Denver coins are marked with a D, and the San Francisco coins are usually proof issues with an S. Each variety carries different levels of interest and value. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins in 1981 with exceptional detail and a glossy, mirror-like finish. These were not intended for circulation and were instead made for collectors. But even among proofs, some stand above the rest due to their exceptional preservation and visual brilliance. While billions of 1981 pennies were struck and circulated, the vast majority show wear and tear from years of handling. But if you find a coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially one that has never been touched by human hands, you're already holding something special. The condition of a coin is critical in determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, and anything graded above 65 is considered mint state. A 1981 penny in MS 67 or higher is not just rare, it's a standout among its billions of peers. Another essential feature collectors look for is luster and color. Copper coins naturally darken over time, but some 1981 pennies have managed to keep their original red glow, fresh from the mint. These red or full red designations boost the coin's value significantly, but let's now step into the fascinating world of mint errors and varieties. These unintentional flaws are what transform everyday coins into extraordinary treasures. And the 1981 penny has more than a few secrets of its own. One of the most thrilling varieties found among 1981 pennies is the double die obverse. This means that certain design elements were stamped twice slightly out of alignment. If you spot doubling in the date, the word Liberty, or the motto, In God We Trust, you may have a highly valuable coin on your hands. Another coveted error is the off-center strike, which occurs when the blank wasn't properly aligned with the dies during the strike. These coins look strange, part of the design is missing, and a blank crescent shape can be seen. The more off-center the strike, without losing the date, the more valuable the coin. Some 1981 pennies were even struck on the wrong type of metal blank, called a wrong planchet error. Imagine a penny minted on a dime silver-colored planchet, or on a foreign coin blank. These mistakes are extremely rare and command top dollar among collectors. Then there are the proof varieties. Some 1981 S-proof pennies have been identified as Type 1 and Type 2. The difference lies in the shape of the S mint mark. Type 2 has a more refined, clear mint mark and is generally rarer, especially in perfect condition. With billions of pennies struck in 1981, it's easy to think that no one coin could be worth more than a few cents. But it's precisely because of that assumption that rare examples get overlooked. Rarity isn't always about how many were made, it's about how many survived in perfect or exceptional condition. Coin auctions have surprised many collectors with shocking results. One small copper coin with a combination of perfect luster, rare error, and certified grading can ignite bidding wars and fetch prices beyond what anyone would expect. People across the world are now searching their drawers, old wallets, and inherited coin collections. It's no longer just a hobby, it's a modern-day treasure hunt. Because finding the right coin can mean a life-changing reward, and what makes this even more exciting is how accessible it is. You don't need to travel or dig for gold. You might be sitting on a coin worth tens of thousands, maybe even more, without even knowing it. There's an undeniable thrill in discovery. And when it comes to coins like the 1981 penny, the thrill comes with real value. Every little detail on the surface could be a clue, a slightly misplaced letter, a strange shadow in the design, or a color that seems just too bright to be old. So next time you're handed a penny, don't just toss it aside. Look at the date. Look at the color. Look for that mint mark. There's no telling what kind of history and money you might be holding between your fingers. If you own a 1981 Lincoln penny, especially one in brilliant uncirculated condition, it might be worth sending it for professional grading. A small investment in authentication can open the door to massive collector interest. In the world of numismatics, knowledge is everything. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a rare collector's piece is often invisible to the untrained eye. But with the right attention, patience, and awareness, anyone can make that discovery. And now, we come to the most jaw-dropping part of the journey. A rare 1981 Lincoln 1-cent penny, featuring a rare mint error, certified at a high mint state grade, and preserved with original red luster, was sold to an elite collector for a breathtaking $197,000. Top 5. Every now and then, a coin comes along that seems simple on the surface. But once you dig deeper, it reveals a world of hidden history, rare variations, and incredible value. The 1982 Lincoln 1-cent penny is one of those coins. It's more than just a piece of copper or zinc. It's a key to a fascinating story in U.S. coinage. To many, a 1982 penny might look like just another common coin. Millions were produced, and most people wouldn't give it a second glance. But coin collectors and sharp-eyed treasure hunters know that this year hides something truly special. It marks a turning point in American coinmaking, and some of these pennies are now worth serious money. The Lincoln penny has long been an icon in American pockets and purses. Since its first minting in 1909, the coin has carried the image of one of the most admired U.S. presidents, Abraham Lincoln. For more than a century, his profile has stood as a symbol of honesty, leadership, and enduring values. The obverse design of the 1982 penny features Victor David Brenner's classic portrait of Lincoln. His determined gaze, the timeless words, "In God we trust," and the placement of "Liberty" and the year all appear with a familiar dignity. But what lies beneath that familiar face is where things get fascinating. The reverse of the coin shows the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This monument symbolizes national unity and respect for the man who led the nation through its darkest hour. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny depiction of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a detail often missed by the untrained eye. Now, let's get to the core of why the 1982 penny stands out among all other years. This is the year the United States Mint made one of the most significant changes in the penny's composition. In response to rising copper prices, the mint switched from a solid copper alloy to a cheaper copper-plated zinc core. Before 1982, Lincoln pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But starting in the middle of that year, the composition changed to 97.5% zinc with just a thin copper coating. This switch resulted in two completely different types of pennies being produced in the same year. That means there are 7 major varieties of the 1982 penny, depending on weight, mint mark, and size of the date. There are both copper and zinc pennies from this year, and both come in large and small date formats. Yes, it's complicated, but it's also what makes this coin so thrilling to collectors. Each variety has its own story, its own level of rarity, and its own market value. The small date zinc, small date copper, large date zinc, and large date copper all carry distinct features. The challenge and excitement for collectors is in identifying which one they're holding. Weight is a major clue. A 1982 copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs just 2.5 grams. A simple digital scale can reveal what your penny is made of, and it could be the difference between common change and a rare collector's piece. The large date versus small date distinction refers to the size and shape of the numerals in the coin's year. It's subtle, but once you know what to look for, it becomes easier to spot. The small date versions are generally considered harder to find, especially in copper. Among these variations, one has gained legendary status in the numismatic world, the 1982D small date copper penny. According to official mint records, it shouldn't even exist. But a few have surfaced, verified by professional grading services, and they've sparked massive interest among collectors. These so-called impossible coins prove that even in modern times, surprises can still be found in the most unlikely places. The 1982D small date copper penny is now one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever produced, and it was found by average people checking their spare change. But even outside of this particular holy grail, the 1982 penny offers tremendous opportunities. Mint errors, like off-center strikes, double dies, or transitional planchet mistakes, can also add tremendous value. These errors are extremely rare and often fetch thousands of dollars. A 1982 penny with a double die obverse is especially desirable. This kind of error results in doubling on the lettering or date, and even slight doubling can boost a coin's worth significantly. Spotting one of these takes a sharp eye and a bit of luck. Coins from the San Francisco Mint in 1982 were struck as proofs and are marked with an S. These were not intended for circulation and were usually included in proof sets. When found in perfect condition, these coins can also command a premium from collectors. Then there's the matter of coin condition, a major factor in determining value. A 1982 penny that has been circulated and worn down is worth face value. But one that remains in mint state, with sharp edges, full luster, and no scratches, can sell for hundreds, or thousands, depending on its variety. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS-70 representing a perfect, uncirculated coin. Most valuable 1982 pennies that have sold at auctions are graded between MS-65 and MS-68. Professional grading can significantly boost a coin's credibility and market value. The demand for 1982 varieties has surged in recent years. Coin collectors, both experienced and new, are hunting down these pennies, hoping to discover a valuable version. It's created a kind of modern-day treasure hunt, where the tools are magnifying glasses, scales, and patience. It's a thrilling idea, isn't it? That something so small, so overlooked, could be hiding right in front of you. Maybe in your car's cup holder. Maybe in your grandmother's old coin jar. The 1982 penny invites us to look a little closer, to pay attention to what we usually ignore, and that's what makes this story so powerful. Because it's not about ancient treasure or gold bars. It's about a single, copper-colored coin that could hold enormous value in the most unexpected place, your pocket. Social media, YouTube, and coin forums are filled with stories of lucky finds. Everyday people are turning spare change into real money, and in many cases, those coins have been sitting right under their noses for years. That's the magic of numismatics. The thrill of discovery, the excitement of learning, and the possibility of turning knowledge into reward. And the 1982 penny is one of the best modern examples of this magic at work. So if you've got a 1982 penny, don't dismiss it. Check its weight. Look at the size of the date. See if there's a mint mark. Examine its color and shine. You might just be holding one of the rarest coins of the 20th century, and if you think it's special, consider having it graded. Certified coins not only carry more value but also attract more serious collectors. Who knows? Your 1 cent could become one of the most valuable coins of its kind, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. One exceptionally rare 1982 Lincoln 1-cent penny, featuring a small date, struck in copper, professionally graded in mint state condition, and verified for authenticity, was recently sold at auction for a staggering $94,000.